Zulfia! Oh, Zulfia! Injibena! The old man cried out in a tremulous voice. She heard and came flying to him anxiously. What is the matter, father? Do you feel bad? She said, then broke off in amazement at the sight of the jewels. Chapter 29. Another day passed, but the thief had not yet appeared. Khoja Nasreddin counted his journey on his fingers. 3 days there, 3 back, 2 days in Kokan. If tomorrow he appears not either, agar subam namat, then verily we shall have to flee. Can it be that the eye of my mind has played me false? No, that is impossible. No. He is already near. He is pressing forward. He is already on the side of the pass. And the thief appeared. He appeared in the doorway of the hut as if materializing out of the air. But a minute before, Khoja Nasreddin had gone out to look down the road and not a soul had been seen. He was noticeably fatigued. And covered with dust, but his flat, ugly face was beaming. It said better words could have done. Success. This took place in the afternoon. While the thief was relating his Kokan adventures, the sun shifted westward and evening was approaching. The last evening before the irrigation. Time was precious. Let us make things clear, said Khoja Nasreddin. The jewels belonging to the poor widow must be returned to her. Do you agree? Family? I had the very same thought. But first, we shall use them for a brief turnover. For a righteous purpose, of course. I understand, the thief said, livening up. I can tell you of a place where that can be done with convenience. Yonder, a little way out of Chorak, down in the valley, there is a caravanserai. A caravanserai, I have been told about it. A large caravanserai where dice is played without interruption. Day and night. 24 hour kesta khimar khana hai. Khub top khimar khana hai. Ono jumhuri khub istifada mishamani. Big gambling. If we go to work on this together. Nay, we shall not go to work on this. We shall make a turnover much nearer home. We shall play a different game. A winning game. Follow me, but take care that no one sees you. By way of the waste plots and back lanes, he brought the thief to the house of the old Muhammad Ali. Concealing themselves in the thick bushes. They crept up to the wall and looked into the garden. The old man was in the garden, digging the earth up around the apple trees. Khoja Nasreddin recognized one of them as the tree which Muhammad Ali had planted on the day of his daughter's birth. That apple tree, Said had told him, was decorated for ornament's sake with a colored ribbon for every day. برای هر روز یک خاص ribbon بسته کرده نه. A red one for Saturday, a blue one for Tuesday, a pink one for Wednesday, and a green one for Thursday. Friday being a holiday, all the 6 ribbons were hung out together. This rite, this rasm, had been devised by Zulfiya 10 years ago. درخت زده آتیشی وقتی او پیدا شده خو بس یه 10 ساله که ریبنا را در هر روز بسته که درخته. This rite had been devised by Zulfiya 10 years ago, and she had strictly observed it ever since, never forgetting to say good morning to her cowl and to adorn it. Today was Friday, the Muslim Sabbath. Sabbath kesta hafta ramagana de isabi aini Yehudi. Sabbath means Rosi Sabt and Rosi Saturday, Rosi hafta. It is no work day according to Shariat. If you work, kalan gunah ka day. Chutti matlab no work today. It's just purely for ibadat purposes. Ki misli da mane Muslim Jumaya. The Muslim Sabbath, when the apple tree was supposed to have 6 different colored ribbons, but where were they? Stare he would, Khoja Nasreddin could not distinguish this one and only apple tree from the many others. Had Zulfiya forgotten? No. Zulfiya had not forgotten. Looking more closely, Khoja Nasreddin discerned on one of the trees nearby, the very tree around which the old man was digging up the earth, a narrow little ribbon, a black one. Black ribbon. Zulfiya had not forgotten. That morning, she had bidden farewell to her favorite and left the sign of mourning in the memory of herself. Shunki akhri roz asta, ye most favorite trees khura kesta, bari visit sham namda. Lekin bali diga darakht as a goodbye sign kesta, ribbon black basta kada. Ki aza girifta ki ma inali raftum diga. Diga time roz akhri shaw ich kas faisla nagda. Khoja Nasreddin's heart was moved with compassion as Ram bikhi awshu dilch. That black little ribbon told him more than a tome of sorrow would have done. Poor maid, Bechara Dukhtar, how she must have suffered these days. Without having yet seen her or spoken to her, he felt her to be near and dear to him. A blood relation almost. With all his heart, he shared her grief, and with all his heart, he shared beforehand the unexpected joy that was soon to enter this garden through him. See you that black ribbon on the apple tree, Mingirni? He said to the one-eyed in a whisper. Before a quarter of an hour shall have elapsed, it will be replaced by the gay splendor of 6 colored ribbons. Believe me, such minutes are worth living for. The one-eyed did not understand. What is he talking about? To him, that ribbon was dark in meaning as well as color. What do you mean? Look and guess. Zulfiya, the young mistress, came forth into the garden. Bid Kamal. Alas, she no longer regarded herself as the mistress there. Misli sahib ori darid namad mane zuba. Sorrow clouded her face. Az gham rang parida. She cast a slow farewell glance around the garden. Egal bidai nigah mein tadabali bagh atraf andakht. Taking in the bushes, the trees, the paths, the flowers. Khoja Nasreddin divined the tears in her eyes from afar. Az dur did ki chmaiz pura zawdi there. Look, the thief whispered, nudging Khoja Nasreddin with his elbow. There is another. It was Said. He had slipped in through the wicket unseen by the old man and approached Zulfiya behind the bushes. She rushed forward to meet him. Well, what? Khoja Nasreddin guessed her eager question. Everything will be decided today, came the answer. Either there will be money or we shall flee. Are you prepared? آخری ملاقات اردیش اینجا مده که چیکار کنی؟ چی شد مگه امروز روزی جزایه و چیش امروز یا فراری کردنی یا خو نجات پیدانی پیسر پیدانی. Zulfiya tossed her head bravely. Yes, she was prepared. She was not hasty in making up her mind. بله اردو کار ready بود. But when she did, she would be staunch to the end. مفت یک دفعه تصمیم میگرفت بس تا آخر استم ما شد. این زولفیه خاصیت چی؟ Khoja Nasreddin was lost in admiration of her. That bold turn of the head, the flash of her eyes. MashaAllah. The old man, pottering around the apple tree, looked around and beheld Saeed and Zulfiya. Al-Bakul dawr mukhra ardu shirmin karna. Mandali. He hung his head, thought a while, then sticking his mattock into the ground, dragged his tottering feet towards them. Saeed saluted him respectfully. Assalamu alaikum. The old man returned his salutation in silence. It was difficult for him to speak. He felt ashamed, mastering himself. Bas khoto jammana. Pesh be damat sharminda masta ki paisa bandobast na tanis na. He said, "My son, hearken to me. Go away. Cause not needless heartache to me." Bachem, am zinj borekta. I mean, dar dir zmoram khalas ku Zulfiya pareshan kade, and to yourself, raham kuda alkho. She belongs to us no longer. Zulfiya zmon nahi aayegi gali. Khoja Nasreddin had no time to listen to his further words. Kud bakul falte gaba mizneto. Quick, he said to the thief, hide the jewels under the apple tree. Cover them up with earth, slip through like a serpent, like a shadow. The thief leapt over the wall into the garden and forthwith disappeared as if the earth had cloven asunder and swallowed him. Only by the barely perceptible swaying of the grass over the dry, overgrown ditch was Khoja Nasreddin able to follow his progress towards the apple tree. As my name is Buta. So swift and soundless was it. There was a brief gleam of something under the apple tree. Then the weeds over the dry ditch swayed again and bent in the opposite direction. In jumping into the garden, the thief had grazed the branch of a pomegranate, and it was still swinging when he returned. هموتیم شاخ انارک شورده بود که رفت کارخ کد آمد و تبل شور مخورد. آدا ورزه. بس مگه what next? He asked in a whisper. He was trembling. بخی می لرزید درو. Not with fear, as خوف نه. of course, but with the thrill of the thief inverted. Jak da famu da karam da kafi desh dat ki thief da kar nash dat na. Flooded with the clear light of evening, the garden, after Muhammad Ali's sorrowful words, seemed to have plunged into the gloom of night. Yani gham diga Hatshaw darom to tirash dare. Saeed departed. At the wicket, he looked back and waved his hand. Zulfiya wept. With slow steps, the old man returned to his apple tree. He took his mattock and struck the ground with it once again. Turning over the earth in smooth slices that shone darkly under the iron. He broke up each slice with the butt end and crashed it. Thoroughly until he was not a clod left. Griefly lay upon his old heart like an enormous stone. Grief kesta bale dilazum istek sang varishta wadgam. Grief had extinguished the last dim light in his old eyes. But it could not impede the customary tenor of his labor. In labor lay the roots of his being. The mehnat ruh zu wabasta. The very meaning of his existence. Ikigai. Kiki, kimo, kikimora, ikigai gai. Ho. Here is a reason that this is really related. Ki wo qadam zo mehnat ki ta'alluq shubut ormo ikigai zubut. Upon earth. Yani dalili wujud zu barui zameen enmi mehnat wud. Enmi zahmat enmi kar talash u koshish. He swung his mattock as always with slow measured movements, leaving naught behind him that needed bettering or redoing. Yani yamt ki raybud de khub saaf sutra pas pushi the narm zameen tayar kada. The mattock struck against something hard. The old man bent down but saw not the bag with the jewels there by reason of his poor sight. Khoja Nasreddin shouted out to him in thought, as bend down, lower, come thaw, you old mole, take them, pick them up. The old man espied at last the little bag. He picked it up and undid it and stood petrified. Dazzled by the gleam of gold and the sparkle of gems. He shook the jewels out into his hand, a dark, toil-hardened, earthy hand. A dark, sia, toil-hardened, earthy. A bracelet dropped on the ground, and in the bending down to pick it up, Muhammad Ali dropped the rest. The ruby necklace slipped from his hands like a fiery snake. The gold in falling glowed with an oily melting luster. The sapphire shone with the icy blue starry glimmer, the emerald with a green sparkle. Zulfiya! Oh, Zulfiya! The old man cried out in a tremulous voice. She heard and came flying to him anxiously. "What is the matter, father? Do you feel bad?" she said, then broke off in amazement at the sight of the jewels. She had seen gold before, only twice in her life. But gems, never. Jawahirat, nah. "What is this?" The old man had recovered his senses and reason. Aqal chikam da jayam dat ushi. "I found them. Paida kudum bachim. Just now, under the apple tree, under your favorite tree." "O Zulfiya, the Almighty Allah has heard our prayers. An angel has brought us this. Zulfiya, your guardian angel." Khoja Nasreddin tugged the thief's sleeves. "Do you hear? You're an angel." Stricken down by a sudden fit of inner soundless laughter, the one-eyed rolled and writhed on the ground at the feet of Khoja Nasreddin. Alas khanda u gurdar chuda dan kharaban girfta the pesh pai Khoja mitar de mita padiga. Within the garden, meanwhile, a joyous hub had broken out. "Ena bandar shuru wacha. Saeed, Saeed!" Zulfiya cried out in a ringing voice. The youth heard her. He had not gone far, and came running back. He was the only one of the three who guessed whence those jewels had come. But how they came to be under the apple tree, that he could not understand. ای خوی جول شناخت لیکن نفهمید کی تای درخت چطور آمد. All that was wanting to crown that day was the decking of the tree with colored ribbons. دیگه شادمانی فقط اونمویه که پیک شی یعنی که ریبن بستش نه ده چیزا ده درخت دیگه تمام کارایش پورایه پارتی ریډیه. You must remember. You must. Aziyat Tunara, Khoja Nasreddin reiterated, mentally addressing Zulfiya. She caught his entreaty with her inner hearing and ran into the house. A minute later, she reappeared like a flying comet, impetuous, radiant with a tail of colored ribbons. The sun had already set, but the silk gleamed and rippled as if irradiating a light of its own. Resham the mutarikim askhot light dasht. Zulfiya decked the apple tree, and amid the brilliant splendor of its gay garb, the black ribbon was swallowed up in the gathering darkness. As bast ki ribanai rang barangi amat, black gum shud raft rangs. On the way back, the thief said, "I thought that damsel was of angelic beauty, but she is nothing much. A far cry to Arzi Bibi, for example." Remember what Saadi said. To appreciate the beauty of Layla, one must behold her with the eyes of Majnun, said Khoja Nasreddin. In the hut by the lake, he gave the thief 5 bread cakes, an old blanket, and a cooking pot. You shall find yourself in a boat somewhere nearby. In our bigger, Naljaya Paida Kuigo Harmar. Any Pandananan, any big Borshavus. Any Kambal. No one must see you or even suspect your presence in Chorak. To the Chorak ni. food you will receive from me. And that only at night. Be always prepared to answer my first call. Saw you the pole that lies before the entrance? Once I raise it with a white handkerchief, it will be a sign that you must come without a moment's delay. एक सफेद दस्माल बस्तानम वज़नों की दीदी बात फौरन बिरसन नहीं जान रहा. I hear and obey. Iranian इनका के इताअत कुर्बान. And with these words, the thief departed in search of a secluded spot wherein to spend the night. He was an adept at concealment. He was an adept at concealment. It was not long before he had discovered a small and very snug cave nearby. The entrance to it was covered with thickets, which provided a reliable screen against prying eyes. That cave exists to this day and is known locally as special treat the abode of the righteous thief. Khane duzi janana bagim diga. Of the villagers of today, however, there is none that can give any sensible explanation of the name. Duzi Saleh. Yani shi ek blue villager tha imroz ram ami dalil chna mafaham kemir chara mera ghari duzi Saleh maga ahli Saleh. To wit, who was the thief in question? Awalne ki duz kiya. And what kind of thief was he to leave after himself such an incredible trace down the ages? Yawal koi ki wo dui mi chis kar kadad ki qadar ek miras ishta ki salha aspas zubat manda. Let this book then serve also to dispel the gloom of ignorance in this retired spot. Pas bilki amzu jahli azu dehatiya khabar nadra khali khabar dare ki zimoga dalil khabar niya baris na yak burhan chuna ki bakhatir enzi. For our knowledge of the world is gleamed in grains, and no single grain is redundant. Before nightfall, the thief managed to gather some dry ivy and make himself a bed. The building of a hearth, and all the rest he left until the morrow. It was night already. The thin clouds floating across the face of the moon sometimes turned its radiance into a shining mist. Some small creatures on the padded paws scurried through the moon-silvered bushes with a faint rustle. An awakened baby bird gave a sleepy squawk. The thief flung himself down upon his bed of leaves and stretched himself. Waves of fatigue flowed through his travel-weary limbs. Within a minute, he was fast asleep, smiling peacefully, and maybe dreaming of Father Torahon. Khoja Nasreddin slept too in his little hut. He saw in his dreams a swaying apple tree bedecked with 6 ribbons of different colors. Agabak slept and smacked his thick lips in his sleep with voluptuous relish. He was dreaming of Zulfiya, whom he was expecting in his web. The next morning, loathsome spider. In vain are thy dreams. Instead of a butterfly for his horrible and predatory repast, a hornet was already prepared for him. तुम्हें खाएगी परवाना रे बिगड़ी नलमा वजह बंदोबस्त हम काम है गुदना जंबूर. As to the wakeful ones, khoina khtam khawa mingana daro. लेकिन उनकी बेदार किया. As to the wakeful ones, there were not 2 that night, as usual, but 3. Say nafar khawna moradro. For Muhammad Ali slept not either. He was guarding the jewels. Which lay hidden deep and away under his pillow. Said and Zulfiya were conversing in the garden at their usual trysting place by the cistern in the shadow of the elm. Are you now convinced, Zulfiya? Said, my love, I understand not. Who is he? Who is he? This stranger, our protector, our friend. I know not, Zulfiya. He speaks not his name. Oh, how happy I am. And I am happy too, Sayyid. Forever, forever. Sooner will this elm become a cane than I cease to love you. وإني مثلاً كي مدرخت كنت درخت أجر يقدر في خش شوب جوش نامي تري مكان نرا مو تدي ما طلاب مكان نرا. The elm listened and wondered not. He had seen many lovers on that bench. بس elm درخت كسر دور سيلنا جوش نامي خو قرد مزنينا ما زبيش كلو لافرارين جدا مش استمرنا رايح كذا مشيش. The elm listened and wondered not. He had seen many lovers on that bench, heard many tender words, repeated from generation to generation. And he knew how swiftly, by his century count in tasadar hisab kana, passionate lovers are transformed into decrepit old men and placid, toothless old women who came to sit on that very same bench on their way to the grave. But they come only in the daytime, so that the sun may warm their cold, sluggish blood. लेकिन फकत उस्ला में तने की वक्ती रोज बाया क्या मो आज बेतावा मो काम खून चिगरम बाया भाई आज बस क्या खस्ता. So that the sun may warm their cold, sluggish blood that had once sparkled and frothed like young wine. And this is the chapter, end of chapter 29.